ball is life, plain and simple. You know, ask any baller. If you know, you know.
The game has changed, but it's still the same. You want it, go get it.
Shazam!
The inbounds pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. The shot on Elo. Ah! The Bulls win! They win it!
Mike, you're honestly telling me that he's top 5.
Yeah.
Top 5 of all time.
No question about it.
Booker, this is for the win. Got it. Wow.
The ruling on the floor is made basket.
You know, one thing's for sure. Over at Valley Sports Plug, you're never going to catch us slipping. With the first overall pick, the Phoenix Suns select
3, 2, 1, yeah!
Welcome to Pass the Outlet, episode 21. I'm your co-host, Michael Benjamin, joined as always by my wingman, Christopher Patrick. Chris, how you doing today, man?
Doing good, man. It is Olympic season. Plenty of basketball. We're gearing up here a couple more months. We'll be back at it in the NBA. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. We're going to start off the show with something different. But before that, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. If you're watching the live stream, make sure that you're dropping some comments so we can read them out for the people. If you're watching back on playback, or if you're listening on podcast streaming service, we love you guys. Make sure you're following us at AZ_VSP on all socials. Just had a new Heat Check podcast drop yesterday. Had some awesome deep dive conversation with what's going on with our Arizona Diamondbacks. So make sure you guys are keeping in tune. But for today on Pass the Outlet, episode 21, we're going heavy on Olympic basketball, baby. Team USA is rolling on both the men's and women's side right now. And the Phoenix Suns made a huge point guard addition. But before we start, Chris, we're going to do something a little bit different, man. We're going to see what you've picked up in the sneaker world, because I know you got a nice, fresh pair out there. So what do you got here, man?
Yeah, man. I think your sneaker collecting is rubbing off on me a little bit. I got that Whatnot app you were telling me all about. Don't want to have any spoilers there. This pair of shoes that I got was not from Whatnot. If you guys go and watch that Heat Check podcast that we just posted, you'll see that the generous Mr. Benjamin gifted me a pair of brand new Book Ones, the lilac purple. What do they call these? Barely grape colorway?
Barely grape. We've been waiting, Chris. You know how many times that we've talked about the Book Ones on Pass the Outlet. It was only right that we hooked you up and got you a nice, fresh pair. I don't know, man. Did you see D-Book out there live in the wild today in Paris, handing out some unreleased pairs as well? Full rattlesnake print on those, man. So clean. Saw a guy in a Devin Booker jersey and he said, gotta hook you up. And he's done this in the past too. He's kind of just left some Easter eggs out there for people to find as well. So if you were lucky enough to be in Paris and catch one of those new pairs, congrats to you as well. But Chris, you got anything else? Or just the D-Books for right now?
Just the D-Books for right now. I'm keeping an eye out. I made a few bids, if you will, on Whatnot, but a lot of that was out of my budget at the time. Those jump up quick. You know, not everyone can score a pair for a little couple pennies on the dollar. A lot of those you sent me a stream yesterday, and some of those were going up to like $1,500 for some of these sneakers. So really eye-opening for how crazy it is out there in the shoe world. I just also have to add to what you're talking about with Book, handing out the Book Ones. It is a global game, folks. We know this. The NBA especially is worldwide, got fans everywhere. Of course, Booker has some fans out there in Paris. I think the one video I saw is that he was hiding them somewhere, kind of like a social media, like go and get them type thing. He was like down this stairway near a river. Really cool. I love to see that. And awesome to know that there's Suns fans all around the world.
Man, we could have a full-blown podcast just about the D-Books, man, especially some awesome pairs that are coming out within the next couple of months. Like we said, that new rattlesnake print, which is different from the white and the rattlesnake swoosh that just came out. We got some Ant Pearl vibes with the all pink colorway coming out. Super clean, super crispy. And finally, we're getting a Phoenix Suns colorway. I cannot wait. But I also can't wait to talk about what our boy Devin Armani Booker has been doing for Team USA. But, okay, I got to go, man. I got some new pickups. Chris, if you know, when we were playing a couple years before, Kyrie Irving was a heavy hitter for the Nike brand before they kind of had a falling out. And he eventually moved on to Anta, where he's had his first model come out within the past couple of months, within this past season. A lot of people are liking those. But I had to get my hands on another pair of Kyrie 7s right here. This is just the Brooklyn Black. This is a beautiful, beautiful shoe to play in. This is probably my all-time favorite hoop shoe right here, especially since it's more kind of a mid-top. It's built for those big guys. If you guys remember watching the Phoenix Suns this past season, Drew Eubanks was basically always in Kyrie 7s in a whole bunch of different colorways. I can't go wrong with those. And then I got an unexpected pair. I'll shout out Whatnot again. I shared it on my socials as well. Shout out Adil. Shout out the guys over at Cool Kicks in LA. But I got myself a pair of PlayStation Paul Georges. And Chris, I got these for $7. You can't be serious. So they are used. Yes, they need a little bit of cleanup, but I don't know if I'm really going to play in these, just because I got a bunch of hoop shoes. But I made the transition to the PlayStation platform when Spider-Man 2 came out. Had to get my hands on these. And for $7, are you serious? This was a no-brainer for me, man.
Yeah, Mike, that's a steal. Props to you on scooping those, scoring that deal. That's freaking awesome. The Kyrie 7s especially, man. I will echo your sentiment there. It's honestly my favorite shoe to play in. I got the University Red colorway. I would love to have another pair. Of course, Nike doesn't make them anymore as Kyrie is no longer their athlete. Close second would be the Kyrie 8s, but man, those 7s, I'm jealous. I'm going to have to keep an eye out on Whatnot, see if I can't score another pair for myself, because honestly, it is just an absolutely incredible basketball shoe. So hats off to you, not only for the Kyrie 7s, but for scoring those PGs as well. That's freaking awesome.
Sometimes you get blessed with the steal, so I'm going to take it. Already added the Kyrie 7s into the rotation, played in them on my birthday, I think. So excited to get them back onto the floor. And man, what a beautiful time if you are a sneakerhead to be purchasing shoes, because if you are following the market, it is down right now, that's for sure. So if you want to get some just grails or some old pairs that you've been having your eye on for a long time, if you got the funds, obviously, now's the time to pull the trigger. But Chris, it's time to get into this episode 21. And today we are going to start with the hometown team, Phoenix Suns, on Saturday, July 27th. Right before we were recording Heat Check Podcast episode 31, we got some breaking news that really just got our juices flowing, man. And we promised the people that we were going to hit this one heavy to start, since we didn't talk about it in Heat Check 31, since we promised Tallman that we wouldn't talk about the Phoenix Suns. But the Suns have signed point guard Tyus Jones from the Washington Wizards to a 1-year, $3.3 league minimum deal. Insane grab for the Phoenix Suns to basically cement their offseason and get ready to roll once Devin Booker and Kevin Durant come back from Paris, looking for a push for the ever elusive first championship for the Valley in basketball, man. But just a little bit about Tyus Jones. Last year, he played 66 games. He missed the final 16 games with a back issue. He was diagnosed with a lumbosacral sprain, and I wouldn't be surprised that he missed those final 16 games more so out of just precaution. Sure, he could have finished out the last 5 or 10. At that point, Washington was dead in the water, had no chances of even sniffing the playoffs, so they probably just shut him down. But the big item ticket with this guy, Tyus Jones, is his ability to control the basketball and not turn it over, right, Chris? League leader in assist to turnover ratio for 6 straight seasons, going back to 2018. And this last year, he set an NBA single season record with a 7.35 assist to turnover ratio. And he had his best season yet. Definitely, getting the nod at the helm for that Washington Wizards club. Had his league best 29.3 minute average, also his best points per game with 12.0, 7.3 assists, almost shot 50% from the field and over 40% from three. Before we dive into what this is going to do for the Phoenix Suns, Chris, how are you feeling about this type of addition so late into the offseason, man?
I feel like this came out of nowhere. I didn't even hear any rumors or rumblings about this even being a possibility. Honestly, shocked that he hadn't been scooped up earlier, being one of the highly coveted free agents. And honestly, I think probably the best available at the time that we got him. Honestly, I got to just use his own words. The perfect fit, man. He used the word good fit or fit 11 times in his introductory press conference. It's like the basketball gods answered Phoenix Suns fans' prayers. We were begging for a true point guard, and this is it. And I honestly can't emphasize enough just how good the fit is from, on paper. Obviously, we'll have to see once they all hit the court. But you got a guy who's willing to pass and distribute, who can bring the ball up, that doesn't have to score a lot. He's capable of it, good from outside, but doesn't have to be the one scoring all the time, which opens it wide up for KD, Book, and Bradley Beal to get open and get their buckets. So I'm stoked about it, man. I'm excited.
It was insane, man. It was an absolute explosion for a Saturday that we weren't ready for. We were all prepping for USA basketball, right? And then all of a sudden we find out that this is the final edition that the Phoenix Suns make. You just got to be honest with yourself here. He is a great floor general. I know a lot of people aren't going to put him in the upper echelon of point guards, but man, is he efficient. And like you said, he can be an off-ball spot-up player as needed, which is going to be plenty within this type of offense with these three-headed monsters of Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal, right? We know that Booker's playmaking is solid, but what's his strength, Chris? It's being a primary scorer, right? So to be able to get the ball out of Devin Booker's hands, not looking to not only create for all of his other teammates, but also have to go out there and chip in 25, 30 points a game. Then you get Booker into those beautiful spots, coming off screens, getting to work downhill a little bit better than getting heavy pressure from the half court line. And man, this is just awesome. Another cool tidbit, and you might not think it's cool if you are a Duke hater. I'm not a Duke hater. I'm not a Duke lover either, right? But Tyus Jones and Grayson Allen were teammates on that 2015 national championship team. So you're talking about guys who have been to the mountaintop in their respective leagues together. And I had an awesome quote here from Tyus. He said, "That's my guy. We go way back." Had some great conversations with him as well. I'm really looking forward to sharing the court with him again, both on and off the court. What he stands for, how he competes. He's the ultimate winner. He was definitely on the board with me coming here, recruiting me as well, and making me feel wanted. Before I pass it over to you, Chris, I think you made a good point as well. This is a guy who could have went out into free agency, probably made $15 to $17 million, but play on a losing team, right? So he's betting on himself. He wants to be a winner, and he's coming to the Valley because of all of these awesome things that we've continued to build over the years, pretty much since Devin Booker took over as a superstar within this league, bringing in the super team, if you want to call that, the transition to Matt Ishbia and a new ownership group, and just the ability to live in Arizona, baby. It's a wonderful place to live. Sometimes, not right now when it's 110. But what else are you liking about Tyus Jones, man? How do you think this fit creates more opportunities, not only for our big three guys, but for guys like Monte Morris, Josh Okogie, guys who are going to work within a second unit who might be on the floor with Tyus Jones, right?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, his court vision is unparalleled. I mean, like you said, not the top tier point guard, but maybe second tier. He's going to be able to find those guys when Booker's getting doubled, when Durant's getting doubled, when the defense is putting all their focus on our big three. There's going to be at least one other guy on the court not named Tyus Jones that should be open for an opportunity. And like you said, with the second unit, he'll be able to open the floor up for those guys as well. I do worry about Josh Okogie. I don't want to go into that too much, but we've seen him brick open three-pointers, but never too late for him to turn that around. I do just have to piggyback off what you were saying there. Not only were him and Grayson Allen teammates at Duke, but also for a time they were teammates in Memphis on the Grizzlies. So you got some continuity there, some familiarity. He's really going to be able to vouch for him. And at just 28 years old, yeah, he did take a one-year contract to bet on himself, to get that pedigree of playing with those guys, be on a championship contending team and go for it, to where he can build his resume even more and land his next big contract, whether that's here in Phoenix or somewhere else. You can almost look at this like a bridge year, but he has a lot to lose in a lot of ways, where if he does have a down season, he might not get as much money as if he did go for more security. Like you're saying, taking a 3-4 year deal to get 15-20 million somewhere else. So I think that in and of itself is a good sign for Phoenix, that this guy's going to come in, he's going to play hard, and he's going to not necessarily have a chip on his shoulder, but have something to prove and continue to make a name for himself.
100%, man. And as much as we were surprised of this addition, I think there were some rumblings in the back end. Obviously, with Grayson Allen joining the team, they have a relationship that goes back a decade, right? And he wants to win. He sees that he might be able to change the course of what this team inabilities were last year, right? Which was turning the ball over, Chris. The amount of times that it was just lackluster with ball control. This is the type of guy that you fit in. Not all those problems go away, but a heavy handful of them do, right? Got another quote for you from Tyus here as well. He said, "I felt like I could help with what I bring to the table. I felt I could help contribute to a championship contending team. I'm very excited about it." And like you said, yeah, Chris, it's kind of a gamble, right? If he doesn't perform just how some of those guys last year were hoping to, like Yuta Watanabe, hoping to get those bigger second contracts, and in Yuta's sake, he ended up going back, I think, to Japan to play. But, man, he automatically becomes the conductor of this offense. The big three get to focus on finishing. But my last question for you in regards to Tyus Jones, Chris, is what does the lineup look like now? Does Tyus automatically join that starting five?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked me this question, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it, because I think that he needs to. We know the new head coach, Mike Budenholzer, is very offensive-minded, which is a complete 180 from the previous head coach, Frank Vogel. I think you need to start Tyus Jones. And then that begs the question, where does everyone else fit in? I think naturally we like Devin Booker at the 2, right? But I think you need to put Beal at the 2, which pushes Book a little bit back to the 3. Obviously, KD could play 4 or 5, depending on how big you're playing. I think I want to see KD start at the 4 and then Nurk at 5, obviously. I think for me, that is your starting 5. And I think I'm getting a lot more comfortable with Book going in the 3 spot, seeing what he's doing for Team USA, taking on a more defensive role, because that's the real worry there, right? Is how is he going to defend guys in the 3 slot versus the 2 slot? But from a standpoint of setting up the offense, being able to distribute, Jones would be better served starting. I do believe that. Now you can mix and match that once the game starts, within the first 7 to 10 minutes, you can sub guys in and out. So Tyus Jones doesn't have to constantly be on the court with the big 3. I'm sure we'll see Beal and Booker playing point at some point in time throughout this season. But to start the game, I really do want to see Tyus in that starting point guard slot.
Chris, we are 100% aligned. This kind of addition, for the problems that this Phoenix Suns had last year, you have to start out the gates with Tyus Jones as your starting point guard. Yes, you're going to go a little bit undersized with pushing Beal to the 2 and Booker at the 3, but what does that open up on the offensive end for small forwards trying to guard Devin Booker? Are you serious? My guy's going to get shifty on him and be putting up crazy, crazy numbers. The other thing that I might see, obviously, is if they don't want to go with Tyus, he's the 6th man. Immediately first one in, and it's probably for Bradley Beal. That way you can just shift up everybody. Tyus comes in as your point guard. Grayson is your 2. Devin Booker is your 3. But this is an opportunity that this Phoenix Suns team could not refuse, even after the addition of Monte Morris, right? Last year, we were like, what did we need to do? We needed a point guard. We needed a point guard. The trade deadline came and went. No such thing happened. And then we saw the issues that continued to creep into this backcourt with the inability to control the ball and in key times on the floor, man. So you're adding the best assist to turnover ratio guy from the past half decade in the NBA. You put him on the floor and you let him start with that 3-headed monster. But Chris, man, what a surprise. So excited to get Tyus Jones here into the Valley, pairing up with his old running mate, Grayson Allen. But before we move on, you got any other last thoughts on Tyus Jones, man?
No, man, I can't wait to see what these guys can do out there on the court. I'm sure we're going to have plenty to talk about with Tyus Jones and the whole squad here. Really, I think turning the corner for Suns fans to be more optimistic with this team and the way it's constructed. A lot of changes have been made, and that's been the one constant thing the past 2-3 seasons is the change. And there is reason to be hesitant, a reason to worry, but I don't know, Mike. I gotta ask you, because I know how I feel. I feel a lot more comfortable going into this upcoming season than I did going into last season.
Well, Chris, I have to go with the cautious optimism at this point because of getting bit in the behind off of how high we were from all of the additions that we made last season. Now, I think we learned from our mistakes and we tried to mold things a little bit better into what our weaknesses were in regard to, getting a little bit more dominant presence in that back end big man role with Mason Plumlee, bringing in 2 point guards. So you have the ability, like you said, to play Bradley Beal or Devin Booker running the offense at times. It's going to happen, obviously, but you have those conductors on the back end that can control the ball and control the pace for this high-profile offense. I'm optimistic, man. I'm super optimistic of what this team can do. I think the ability to cut down turnovers adds 5 to 7 wins to this team already. And if you saw what happened in the West, they squeaked out the 6th seed. But with just that little amount of more wins, you're talking about a possible top 3 seed. So, super, super, super excited now. And now I'm even more chomping at the bit, even though our next topic is right here, right now, right in front of us, which is the 2024 Paris Olympics and Team USA basketball, man. First and foremost, if you don't like USA basketball and you are a basketball fan, you're crazy, man, because there are a lot of people who are talking about this team possibly being the best team ever assembled. And those are always fun conversations to have. But as far as basketball at the Olympics right now, we've seen some awesome things, right? I think Nikola Jokic, the 3-time MVP, put up the first triple-double in Olympic history, if I'm not mistaken. South Sudan, who wasn't recognized as a country until 14 years ago, got its first win against Puerto Rico in an upset, right? Luol Deng has been an absolute architect for that team. Chris, did you know that they don't even have an indoor basketball court in South Sudan?
You're kidding me. I had not heard that. Oh.
And you're talking about a team that just went toe-to-toe in the exhibition games, and LeBron James had to sink that win with a last-second layup pretty much. But we're on to the games in Paris, so I got to bring this up for the people. And Chris, I want to start on the women's side, okay? Man, the USA women's have been dominant for more than a couple of decades, right? They are going for their 8th straight gold medal. Crazy, crazy to think. And right now in pool play, there are 2-0. We obviously know we got some Phoenix Mercury players on the team with Kaylee Cooper, Brittany Griner, and old reliable Diana Taurasi. And they put a spanking to Japan in that Olympic opener, 102-76. 5 players in double figures, including 11 each from Kelsey Plum, Sabrina Ionescu, and Phoenix's Brittany Griner. But they are spearheaded by A'ja Wilson and Breanna Stewart, man. In that first game, A'ja had 24 points and 13 rebounds. Breanna had 22 and 8 rebounds. But 6 Americans in double figures. The team shot 54.5% from the floor. Great way to start it off. And then they had game 2 just earlier today in Paris, where they beat Belgium 87-74. Chris, you were talking before we started the pod. Belgium put up a fight, man. 7-point game after 3 quarters. But after U.S. kind of ballooned it to double digits, they really just couldn't cut that deficit to single digits. And once again, USA is led by A'ja Wilson with 23 points and 13 rebounds, and Breanna Stewart with 26 points this time and 7 rebounds. But they have one more matchup in Group C. They're going to face Germany in the quarterfinals on Saturday, August 3rd, before moving on to the knockout round. Chris, what have you seen from this dominant women's USA basketball team so far?
Yeah, man, I think obviously their offensive firepower is really carrying them right now. I think from what I saw in that game with Belgium today, they watched the tape and they knew that they would have to win it on the defensive end to even have a chance against Team USA. Came out the gate hot, but the offensive firepower of this women's team is just insane. Saw Breanna Stewart and A'ja Wilson both making heavily contested shots that I thought were incredibly impressive. The ball movement's been good. I mean, shout out Diana Taurasi getting the start today. Brittany Griner came in off the bench and did her thing. She had 7 points herself. But man, you see A'ja Wilson, 13 rebounds, 23 points today. Incredible. These women are getting it done. And I think they took a little bit of offense to what the WNBA All-Stars did to them just earlier. I guess last month, now that we're in August here. But they knew that they had to come in and fight, and that this wasn't necessarily going to be a walk through the park. They took a spanking to Team Japan, and yeah, Belgium put up a fight. I'm sure Germany will do their best, but I'm very confident that this women's team can go all the way. There's no doubt in my mind.
All systems rolling for this women's team right now, man. A'ja Wilson and Breanna Stewart, A'ja with her size and Breanna Stewart with her ability to create off the dribble are just an absolute nightmare, an absolute problem for all of the other women's team. Unfortunately, the Phoenix Mercury players aren't really as big of contributors right now. We know Diana's 40 years old, right? She didn't have any points today. I think she was 0 of 3 from the field. But Brittany Griner's doing her time within, once again, good switch up from A'ja, just having another huge bodied woman down low. And then Kaylee Cooper is kind of on the outside looking in. But there's just too many heavy hitters on this USA women's squad. You think of the players that are coming off the bench with Sabrina Ionescu and Kelsey Plum. Like, man, if you're having this every single time, you're far, far ahead of the game, that's for sure. But we're going to dive a little bit more into the women's side in the outlet point guard. But Chris, I got to transition into the men's side, who in their opener won 110-84 versus Serbia against MVP Nikola Jokic, the Hawks Bogdan Bogdanovic, and also the Heat's Nikola Jovic. I don't know if you remember that, but 6 players in double figures, and they were led by the Phoenix Suns' Kevin Durant off the bench. He was perfect in the first half, man. He finished 8 of 9 from the field and a perfect 5 of 5 from deep with 23 points. D-Book, who's been an absolute catalyst for this USA team. Let's not sugarcoat it, folks. But 12 points, 5 assists, and 2 steals. And Captain America, LeBron James, man, the ageless wonder, 21 points, 9 assists, and 7 rebounds. It is just something ridiculous to see LeBron continue to play at this type of level. But the team shot 62.3% from the field and 56.3% from 3, comparative to 24.3% from Serbia from deep. So that's why it was so heavy. 18 threes made comparative to 9. And then 103 86 win versus South Sudan. A little bit of a get back from the exhibition squeak out win as we had a 19-point lead at half. And this time it was Bam Adebayo with a perfect field goal percentage from the field in the first half. He finished 8 of 10 for a team leading 18 points. We had 4 guys in double figures off the bench, including 13 from Anthony Edwards and 10 from Derek White. And our guys, our Phoenix Suns boys, KD, 14 points, 3 assists, 3 steals. And Booker with 10 points, 6 assists, and 1 steal. Man. Okay. Chris, what are you seeing out of the men so far? It's been something awesome. I don't think it's been as much of the spankings that we really have been. I know the Serbia one was a large gap there in the final score, but what's been catching your eye about Team USA on the men's side so far?
Yeah, it's definitely not what we've seen in the past in the Olympics and in the FIBA tournaments where Team USA is blowing teams out by 40, 50 points. But we don't need to, a win is a win. I will go back to what you said just a bit ago. If you don't like watching Team USA basketball, then I don't know what the fuck you're just being a nihilist at that point. Cause this is like the East and the West All-Stars put together on one team. It's absolutely awe-inspiring to watch them play, and just every single guy on the floor, you know their name and they're capable and stars on their own respective team. Man, LeBron James, love him or hate him, he's obviously in the same air as Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, guys who have also played for their country. LeBron was the flag bearer for all of USA Olympic sports, along with Coco Gauff. Thought it was kind of crazy that when LeBron was drafted, Coco Gauff was born like 5 months later or something like that. The age gap was hilarious. But talking about our guys, man, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, meaning by that is when we were on our roundtable, I think just last week, we were speculating if Kevin Durant was even going to play in that game against Serbia. There was a lot of rumors swirling about his injury and his health, and a lot of concern, I think, on the panel's part of his health and should he push it too hard? Should he get ready for the NBA season? And he came out and kind of silenced the haters there with his performance. Talking about the team again some more in general, thought it was kind of funny. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, Mike, but Jason Tatum didn't play a single minute in the game against Serbia. Started, had 17 minutes in this game against South Sudan, but didn't do too much. 2 of 4 from the field goal, 5 rebounds, 4 points. Not really impactful. So Steve Kerr, maybe there was a reason you kept Jason Tatum on the bench. I'm just saying, I'm not going to hate though. I love what I'm seeing from these guys. You got kind of the old guard and the new guard playing together, which I think is kind of unique in the fact that you got LeBron James and Steph Curry out there playing, and Kevin Durant. I guess he's kind of in the old guard nowadays. But then you got him playing with guys like Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards, probably the youngest one. He had those funny comments about how the rest of the team's going to have to learn to play around him and that he's the focal point. But I think that's got to be a little tongue in cheek. But these guys obviously are rolling on all cylinders. I mean, 17-point win there is still pretty damn good against a team that you only beat by 1 just a few weeks ago. So I expect them to continue to roll here. They got Puerto Rico coming up on Saturday, and I know that a lot of people will be tuning in for that weekend matchup, but I think it's an early start. I want to say it's like 8 a.m. here local time.
Oof. Well, set your alarm clocks, get up, watch these boys finish out their final group play game. Like you said, this Saturday versus Puerto Rico. Chris did correct me as well, as the women's game against Germany is actually Sunday, August 4th, if that's correct. So let's finish it off, man. Finish out group play. But yeah, Chris, I did want to touch on the team as a whole just a little bit before we roll into the point guard, the outlet point guard. My apologies. USA Basketball's got me all souped up over here, man. But you already talked about Jason Tatum, right? He was slotted into the starting lineup for Drew Holiday. Another guy that we did see not get any time in the first game was Tyrese Halliburton, who did get time against South Sudan. Steve Kerr is playing the matchups, right? But he has his guys who are going to be the catalyst for this team. And damn, it's beautiful. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are 2 of those guys for absolutely sure. But Jason Tatum just hasn't been making the contributions like Booker or Anthony Edwards or his own running mates, man, and Drew Holiday and Derek White. Like, they have been glue guys for this team to continue to feed the heavy hands and knock down those shots when they need to. They are guys who have fit into a role outside of what they would in their normal NBA teams, right? Another one, right? Anthony Davis got the start for Embiid against South Sudan. They were saying that was basically more so for a better matchup because South Sudan has some pretty good team speed from their bigger guys. But it is said that he will move back to the bench and Embiid will start against Puerto Rico. But AD, man, just doing it all. 8.7 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks. I think a lot of people are seeing that Joel Embiid, he just doesn't seem like he's in proper shape right now. And obviously with his injury history, we were kind of expecting that he won't play a game here or there. But he's going to be heavy in the rotation once it gets to the knockout rounds. But man, it's been fun so far. Only 2 games to start here in the Olympics. Devin Booker specifically, man, there's just been a lot of people who have already been calling Devin Booker the unsung hero. And it's just awesome to see, man. NBC's coverage, and Dawn Staley was the one who basically was saying that, right? And before any activities even started for the Olympics, Steve Kerr was giving praise to Book for what he did in Tokyo, right? He's playing both sides of the ball. He's the quiet assassin of the group, which I love to see because we know within the Phoenix Suns, he is that guy, right? So to see him transition his game to play with this caliber of a team and be an unselfish guy, be a ball mover, right? More of a defender, and recognizing his role change, it warms my heart to know that that's our guy because he's the absolute pro. He's absolutely unselfish, and he does whatever he needs to do for these guys to win. But Chris, that's what we got for the outlet point guard today. Do you got anything else that you've been seeing that you're excited about from USA basketball, man?
I am so excited to see what they do through the last game in group play. I think you said it was against Puerto Rico and then on. I think there's only 6 games total. They've said they only have to win 6 games. So once they get this win against Puerto Rico on Saturday, just going to be 3 more to get the gold. To get Kevin Durant his 4th Olympic gold medal. Absolutely incredible. And I'll just piggyback off what you're saying about Devin Booker, man. I love to see these guys representing our country. I know they're honored and they're proud to represent their country. But my favorite part is, Mike, all the Devin Booker haters have to root for him.
Hell yes.
It doesn't get much better than that.
I love it.
But yeah, I'm really excited about the 5-on-5. And there's a really good reason we didn't talk about the USA 3v3. They are not doing so good. The men have not won a single game of their 4 so far. The women just got their first win today against Spain, but they're 1-3. So I think USA basketball has some work to do on their 3-for-3 team or 3-on-3 team. But that's not what we are here for. We're here for the 5-on-5, and I love it.
5-on-5. Let's keep it rolling. With that being said, Chris, it's that time. It's time for Reddit Reacts. So what do you got for us this time, my brother?
Mike, you know I came prepared for Reddit Reacts, and let me pull this up here. We have some Olympic memes, and this one is courtesy of r/NBA memes. You might not have heard of this guy since the NBA Finals, but Jaylen Brown right now, like, I don't know what went into that process. I met the criteria to be selected, but I wasn't. Whoever doesn't know, this is Isaiah Thomas in the Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance, talking about his own snub from the Dream Team and the Olympics. So Jaylen Brown, Isaiah Thomas, drawing some comparisons right now.
It is kind of crazy, Chris, that Jaylen Brown did not make this team. A guy who was the Eastern Conference MVP, the NBA Finals MVP, did everything for that Boston Celtics team. And to not get the nod had a lot of people searching for answers. And the way that Isaiah Thomas didn't get selected for the Dream Team because Michael Jordan did not like him, there's been a lot of comparisons to his previous comments that he had towards Nike. And since Nike is basically the premier sponsor for USA basketball and the men's team, he didn't get the nod. They weren't ready to bring him onto the team. But I know Grant Hill was interviewed the other day, and he said that's not the case. But who knows, man? I'm going with our guy was putting down the swoosh. So the swoosh wasn't ready to put him on that national stage, man. But it's crazy to see the finals MVP in an Olympic year and a great player that Jaylen Brown is not be on this squad, man. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I definitely, I do think it's interesting. I think it's not unreasonable to think that there, might be some politics involved with him and Nike and how that all goes down. But at the end of the day, I want to believe that Nike doesn't really have quite the say in how the roster is constructed. I haven't really dove into it too much, but I would imagine that not every single guy on this roster is a Nike guy. I'd almost guarantee it. I know Joel Embiid, he has a Puma deal. So
no. Embiid's with Skechers now.
Oh, Skechers. Oh, excuse me.
And Anthony Edwards is like kind of the main guy for Adidas right now. So yeah, I mean, there's not all Nike's guys on there, but they didn't make remarks towards Nike how Jaylen Brown did. That's for sure.
So I just think it all comes down to chemistry, familiarity, and when it comes down to roster construction. And Jaylen Brown is a very talented player, obviously very deserving of the finals MVP. But maybe he just wasn't as good of a fit here. Maybe they were worried about him accepting a lesser role, maybe wanting to be out there more than he might otherwise been. I mean, there were a lot of screen grabs of Jason Tatum looking a little dejected on the bench, but he seemed to handle it with grace, and he got his opportunity without even having to say anything. Steve Kerr came out and apologized, said he felt stupid for not playing Jason Tatum. But with Jaylen Brown, I don't know. I think he deserved to be on the team and they would have been right to put him on the team? Absolutely. But him not being on the team, I think there are a lot of guys that could have been on this team that aren't. And that's just the way it goes, man. And Jaylen Brown, you're still pretty young. I think 2028, you might have an opportunity as we see guys like Steph Curry. And I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 44, 45-year-old LeBron James playing on the Olympic team.
And Bronny James will be on the bench right alongside of him. No, Jaylen Brown's going to have some opportunities in the future. This Celtics team isn't going anywhere as well, and he's really just entering his prime. It's crazy to think about these guys who have been in the league for almost a decade just entering their prime, but that's just the nature of the NBA game, man, because guys are getting started so early. But Jaylen Brown, you'll be okay. You'll have your opportunity next time.
Without a doubt, I guarantee you, he'll be, if he continues to play at a high level and do what he's doing, he will force the conversation in his direction. But I want to keep kind of on the topic of Jaylen Brown a little bit, and this might not be a Reddit react, but maybe we can get Mr. Benjamin's react and what he would post in a Reddit subreddit regarding these teasers. Jaylen Brown has been spotted playing in an undisclosed sneaker at the NBPA sanctuary in Spain. It's rumored that he is releasing an independent signature shoe. And these are them there. They have, looks like, some kind of band across the laces on the top. I don't know if those are like gems or holes in the top of the sneaker. Got a clear rubber sole, all black on top. Mike, hot or not?
Ooh, I got to get some more pictures here, Chris. I got to see the full rounds. For me, I'm a fan of the black sneaker on the basketball court. That's kind of primarily what I play in, right? My KD 16s, I got the boardrooms, which are pretty much all black uppers. The Devin Bookers, I got the Havens that I play in. Those new Kyrie 7s, those are black. So I'm always a fan of it. I'm always a fan also of guys going outside of the norm and trying to create something for themselves, right? Another guy who did that was Langston Galloway, who created his own brand. And I think he's on his second model right now as well. So they're always going to be kind of not lower end in regard to materials or creation, but they're just not going to have the traction that most of these big sneaker brands have. I mean, shit, Chris, we've been seeing Skechers trying to get into the game by signing all these big name guys as well with Julius Randle and the aforementioned Joel Embiid. But if you have the means to create your own shoe and it works tech-wise and you can continue to play at the highest level that you can, and you don't get hurt because you undercut the materials and that kind of stuff, more props to you, man. I can't wait to see what these officially are named, man. That's super cool.
Yeah, no, honestly, props to him. I think that is really neat. I'll be honest, I don't love the look of these. Again, we'll see some more angles, see what they end up looking like. And I honestly am curious to know what that material is, because at first I thought that that material on top was like that stretchy, like I don't know how like an elastic band type thing. But now that I'm looking at it a little more closely, it looks like it might just be some kind of suede material. So it's interesting to see he has like the black leather on the heel, a little bit of suede, and then a mesh. So a blend of a lot of different things. But you're right, with shoes, it's 100% the quality of the materials. So I'm curious.
I'm wondering if those really are actual holes in the upper. Like
The more I'm looking at them, they almost look
right?
like they're like gems.
He's wearing some crazy color. Oh, okay. Where I was like, he's wearing some crazy color socks, man. He's got multicolored socks underneath there. But hey, that's cool. I'll keep an eye out for him. I know there's just so many different avenues now. You know, you got guys like who's our guy from the Lakers, Austin Reeves, with Rigorer, and Anta has been coming more heavy within the market. Obviously with Kyrie Irving, but they also signed Nikola Jokic. There's just all these other basketball brands that are getting their name out within the NBA space, which is awesome, man. More opportunities to get yourself into some fresh kicks. I'm always about. You know this, man. Come on now.
Oh yeah. And this isn't part of Reddit Reacts. I just thought it was funny to bring this up because you mentioned that guys that kind of go their own way in making their own signature shoes. And it reminded me of this dude. You remember this dude?
Oh, baby. STARBURY, there he is. Dude, he's an absolute legend in China, right?
Yeah. I think he played for the Shanghai Sharks for a good while or something.
I might be wrong, but I think he might have a statue for the team that he played with already. But he made an absolute name and living out there. But it all started in his time in New York, man, with those STARBURYs. Alongside, I think Ben Wallace was the other one, Big Ben Wallace. I remember having a shirt that was just double B with a Big Ben right across the top. And for what, they were like $14.99, those shoes as a kid.
Yeah, he wanted them to be affordable. Like
I had multiple pairs, dude. I had the Knicks colorways. I had the red ones. I had the Ben Wallace ones too. But those weren't the greatest materials, man. I tried playing those a couple times. I almost got hurt, but I mean that's what you get. But it's also cool, like not a lot of guys doing that, especially nowadays.
And I can give him a little grace there because the whole idea was he wanted to make an affordable pair of basketball shoes for kids that couldn't afford to go out and buy the Jordans or the Nikes, and we're talking 20 years ago now. So I mean, there was even less of a market for other options at that time, but. Yeah, man, just had me thinking of that. But we'll keep it pushing with the Reddit Reacts. We'll go in a little bit of a different direction here. I did say that we weren't going to mention the 3-on-3 game, but a name, Mike, that you might remember is Jimmer Fredette, former Phoenix Sun Jimmer Fredette. He made some trending on Twitter and Reddit for maybe some less than stellar reasons. This was him receiving some treatment for, I think, some kind of groin injury. YouTube, he's receiving medical
yes
here.
Yes. Sometimes you just got to get rubbed out to feel better, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. It was his, a lot of different people posted this same clip, but I pulled Joe Kinsey here. He said, turned on the Olympics and Jimmer Fredette was getting some medical treatment with the, I don't know what emoji you would call that, like the concerned, eyes wide open emoji.
It's gotta be. Oh, dude. Okay. So this is a great viral moment. These kind of things always happen, which I love to see it, but it's a good one. But I got to talk about the 3v3 teams, right? Like they started out a combined 0-6. Like it's been horrible, right? On the women's side, it was tough because Cameron Brink went down. So, I mean, they got Haley Van Lith, and it's different for those 3v3 teams, Chris, because overall the game is paced in different ways. Chris, can you mute that real quick, man?
Oh,
Appreciate it.
I didn't hear any audio on my end. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. But the 3v3 is different, right? Because it's normally like if you make a basket, you're automatically passing it in, right? It's even different from the big three, right? Like they pass the ball in from the top of the key. It's kind of a little bit slower pace. This is just go, 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 right? It's only half court, lasts a maximum of 10 minutes, and the baskets are only 1 or 2 points. But there's also stipulations with who can play on the roster, right? I was listening to some other people who are like, well, why isn't there like a guy who's on an NBA bench playing on it? Well, it's because you have to accrue a certain amount of points by playing in these sanctioned events over the course of the year to even be allowed to participate in these, right? So if you haven't participated in these events, you're not going to be added to the team. So people were like, well, why didn't Jaylen Brown just do 3v3? Because he couldn't. He didn't play any of those events. So I didn't really know anybody on the men's Team USA either, and it's been a struggle. I think they're 0-4 now, so I don't think they're completely dead out of the water yet. I think seeds 7 and 8 don't make it to the knockout round, but they got their work cut out for them. That's to say the least, man.
Yeah, I'd say so. I just looked up their roster there, and I don't know any other name other than Jimmer Fredette. So I get it. I get where you're coming from. That is interesting. I didn't know that, Mike. I was kind of thinking as we were watching that, like, why isn't Jaylen Brown just playing for the 3v3? But that makes a lot of sense because he's not able to do those other events while he's playing in the NBA. So we know Jimmer's not in the NBA, so he's got plenty of time on his hands to do some stuff like that. But yeah, apologies for having that audio going. I did not hear the audio on my end, but regardless, we'll keep it pushing. Got a couple more here for you if you got the time, Mike. What do you think?
Let's do it, man. What do you got?
All right, so got Devin Booker getting some flack. Yes, we love him. We love Devin Booker, but got this here. I know. Let's see if you can see it. I'll try and zoom it in a little bit, but once I kind of read the tweet here, it says, Devin Booker, put on your coat and straighten that tie, young man. This is not a Tuesday night away game at the Smoothie King Center. And that's a Team USA Basketball, a retweet of a Team USA Basketball posting, sending a postcard from Paris. As you can see here, everyone else is looking pretty. I mean, they're all in jeans. And for some reason, it looks like they all have the same pair of jeans, the same shoes. Devin Booker, though, has his coat tossed over his shoulder. His tie is a little loose. He's got the backwards hat on. He's the only one wearing a hat in the picture. He's just super casual. That's Devin Booker, man of the people. Mike, what do you think?
What a ridiculous tweet, man. If you don't remember the opening ceremonies as well, didn't it start downpouring on them when they were on the boat? So if you're really looking at it, Devin Booker was probably the smartest out of all of them because he had an extra fucking jacket on. Like, whatever, dude. Nonsense. But like, you were talking before, man. What a beautiful time to be around basketball because all the people who want to hate on this guy, they still find ways. And like, are you serious about his tie? And when they're on a boat, they're not even close to anybody. It's not like the way that a lot of other Olympic game, the entrances were where they're walking into a huge arena. I mean, they're on a boat having a good time with all their other Olympians. What a joke, man. Get real over here.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And I think they probably, obviously now I'm looking at it closely, they definitely coordinated these outfits for the opening ceremony. They're all wearing the same thing. Another comment I saw with the same photo that I thought was funny is someone said, what, are there no bathrooms in Paris? Because like you mentioned, it is raining. And if you look at their jeans there, they have some moisture on, especially Steph Curry is a little higher up. But it also funny to mention here, Devin Booker has that camcorder in his hand that he's been doing video blogs going all around Paris. So, man, Devin Booker is just a super likable guy. And I think this is forcing a lot of people to open their eyes and see that Devin Booker is not that bad of a guy that's beating your team all the time and putting up 40 plus.
That's for sure, man. I mean, let's be real too. How official are you going to look or buttoned up are you going to look when you're wearing blue jeans? And everybody is wearing blue jeans. Yeah. So let's get real over here. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Devin Booker has got as far as his tape out there in Paris, man. I think he did some cool stuff for the Super Bowl when it was here last time too, where he was taking photos on in his box where he was, it was stars in there, man. And then when he was on the field as well, if I'm not mistaken, those might have been featured in Time. If I'm not mistaken, it was some higher profile magazine as well, but artistic book, man. I'd love to see it, man.
Yeah, man. Obviously, Devin Booker, I think, has a little bit of a fancy for the nostalgia, and I absolutely love it. I'm here for it. Mike, I got one last one for you. I know you're a U of A guy. You spent a year down there. Obviously, fan of all things Arizona here. But we got two Arizona great sports players in this next picture. I cut off this subreddit it's from on accident, but we have fun fact. Former NBA player turned men's beach volleyball Olympian Chase Budinger was co-MVP of the 2006 McDonald's All-American game with Kevin Durant. Did you know this?
I did not. But that does make sense because my time when I was in college was right around the same time frame that Kevin Durant had his 1 year in Texas. And I think he was, what is that, 2007, 2008? But Chase Budinger was at U of A when I was there. And I remember him and Lauryn Hill going into the basketball gym that they have there where they had, like 5-6 different courts. And they would like coordinate off one court over on the side outside of the big gym. It was just the secondary gym. So anytime that the players wanted to use it, that's where they went. And they were over there kind of practicing outside of McHale Center. But dude, isn't it wild, man? A guy who played 7 years in the NBA has somehow just found a new calling in a completely different sport. And he's been stud so far. I think they won their first matchup, and he's a beach volleyball pro, like a stud, man. And I don't think you could give him flack for not being an all-time NBA great pro, right? If you can last for 7 years within the game of basketball at the highest level in the NBA, that's nothing to just throw off to the side. But to have that success and then go over to a completely different sport and have newfound success and play in the Olympics, man, hats off to Chase Budinger. Absolutely insane. And we're pulling for him, man. That's for sure.
Oh, without a doubt. And I was doing just some quick research there on the side. Chase Budinger did play very briefly for the Phoenix Suns in 2016. The dark days. We kind of forgot about that. But his stint here didn't last long. But no, Mike, you're absolutely right. I think a lot of people truly don't appreciate that even the guy on the very end of the bench is better than anybody you've ever played with. It reminds me of that old Brian Scalabrine quote where he said something like, "I'm closer to LeBron James than you are to me." Because these guys are playing at the highest level, man. Only 64 people get drafted, or 64 guys get drafted into this league every year. Most second rounders don't make it into the league. You're lucky if you get to play more than a few seasons in the NBA, and you have to be the best of the best, the top 0.001%. I remember a story of a guy I used to work with telling me that he got to play, I think it was Luke Ridnour or someone like that, and said that he went to like some open run or some like local tournament with him in Indiana. And this dude was just scoring and scoring and scoring and scoring, and you couldn't touch him. And a lot of people probably listening to this might not even know who Luke Ridnour is. Just these guys, even the guy on the very end of the bench that might not even play, is way better than you could even ever imagine. And the reason they're there is because they are one of the best, and maybe not good enough to play or start in the game, but good enough to challenge these guys in practice day in and day out and contribute that way. But enough, I'll get off my NBA elitism high horse and just say I totally agree. Props to Chase Budinger. I just think it shows that true athletes, people who are truly gifted and talented and skilled, can succeed. I won't say at any sport they set their mind to, but we see it a lot. I mean, Kyler Murray of the Arizona Cardinals got drafted by the Oakland A's. We've seen what Deion Sanders played baseball and football. Michael Jordan played baseball and basketball, and at the highest level. Now, you can be critical of Michael Jordan's run in the MLB, but we're not here to talk about that. But props to Chase Budinger. I thought that was kind of cool. I didn't know that they got co-MVP. And I think the fact that he is standing there next to Kevin Durant does kind of speak to his talent. But Mike, that finishes up Reddit Reacts for me.
Damn, what a great photo, man. A Valley legend and a growing Valley legend. I'll let you decide who is who. But man, what a fun one, Chris. Welcome to the Valley, Tyus Jones. Very, very excited to get him into the fold of the Phoenix Suns. And you know we're watching USA basketball. Got one more game in pool play, and then it's on to the knockout round. Have very high hopes of how this team is going to continue to perform within the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. Chris, this is the first time ever that we've really got to get our hands into the Olympics, man. I mean, Pass the Outlet was created in 2022. We did have some times where we talked about FIBA basketball, but the Olympics are always just a different animal, man. With that being said, what do you got for the people to end this one?
Man, I just have to agree with everything you said there. Very excited for the signing of Tyus Jones. Very eager to see what he's going to bring to this team and how Mike Budenholzer is going to shape out that starting rotation. And honestly, the whole rotation in general. Is he going to go 8, 9, 10 guys? Probably going to switch up throughout the season. We'll just have to see. Going to be plenty of conversations to have here on Pass the Outlet and our other various podcasts that you've mentioned. But yeah, Mike, the Olympics is something very special. We've talked about it on roundtables. Just think for a lot of us growing up, the Olympics are a time where a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, every 4 years, we can huddle around the TV, come together as a country, put aside everything else going on, and just appreciate what these guys are doing, whether it's basketball, archery, track and field. It's just, I love the Olympics. It's truly incredible. And last, Mike, I once again have to thank you so much for these awesome book ones. I can't wait to play in these. Going to have to get these out to some Sunday runs coming to you very soon. See how they play, and might be able to let you know on the next PTO. But Mike, thanks so much, man. It's been fun.
Got you, brother. Welcome to the family. Oh, dude, it's crazy you bring up Luke Ridnour. I have a Luke Ridnour story from my ball boy days, and we will talk about that on one of the future Pass the Outlets. But we appreciate everybody joining us today. If you're watching the playback, if you're listening on podcast services, make sure you drop a like, follow us, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure you're following our socials at AZ_VSP. We thank you guys so much. But this was Pass the Outlet, episode 21. I'm your co-host, Michael Benjamin. That's Chris Patrick. We'll see you guys next time. Go USA.
Ball is life, plain and simple. You know, ask any baller. If you know, you know.
The game has changed, but it's still the same. You want it, go get it.
Shazam! The inbounds pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. The shot on Elo. Ah! The Bulls win! They win it!
Mike, you're honestly telling me that he's top 5.
Yeah.
Top 5 of all time.
No question about it.
Booker, this is for the win. Got it! Wow! The ruling on the floor is made basket.
You know, one thing's for sure. Over at Valley Sports Plug, you're never going to catch us slipping.
With the first overall pick, the Phoenix Suns select
3, 2,